Just last week, Intamin announced what they're marketing as the world's first vertical launch coaster. But is that really true? Because if you visit Lagoon in Utah, you'll find Wicked. This Zierer creation opened back in 2007, and it features a series of LSM boosters sending you up a 90-degree top hat. That sounds like a launch to me. But how does Wicked stack up to the newer launch coasters out there? Find out in this review. Lagoon's most recent coasters such as Bombora and Cannibal have both been designed and built in-house. It is an unprecedented move for an amusement park in today's world, and Wicked was the ride that paved the way for this. This one was designed in-house. In the mid-2000s, Lagoon's vice president of engineering was Dal Freeman, who was previously Arrow's director of engineering from 1986 through the 1990s. Freeman was involved in the design of rides such as Cedar Point's Magnum XL200, Busch Gardens Williamsburg's Dragonfire, and Disneyland's Splash Mountain. Being from Arrow, Freeman was no stranger to innovation, so he designed Wicked, a unique vertical launch coaster. Lagoon originally wanted to manufacture the ride themselves by subcontracting out the fabrication, but instead they partnered with Zierer to erect the coaster. Lagoon wanted Zierer to outsource the track fabrication to Intermountain Lift, but Zierer chose to use Staccato instead. Wicked was assembled on a section of Lagoon's parking lot, and it was originally intended to be ready for opening day 2007. However, after the ride was assembled in the spring, non-destructive testing determined nearly 90% of Wicked support columns had defective weldments. As a result, the ride had a 2-month delay while Lagoon worked with Intermountain Lift to fix the ride by disassembling and reassembling it. This experience is why Lagoon now handles the fabrication of their coasters, as well as the design, to have more control over the suppliers and quality. Wicked is quite the presence from the parking lot. It is one of the park's most visible coasters, and it's a large component of the park's skyline. The vertical tower looks quite intimidating. The green track looks nice. Then my eyes are always drawn to the yellow supports of the main tower and the multicolored trains. But from within the park, Wicked does not make the same impact. The ride is tucked in a corner and very little of it can be seen from the midway because it's blocked almost entirely by Colossus. But eventually you should see this ride's awesome sign, and you'll most likely see a line spilling out into the midway. But it's not as bad as it looks. If you're familiar with Lagoon, you should know that the amount of physical queue space for their attractions is laughably small. The one for Wicked can only hold 15 to 20 minutes worth of people. At the end of the line, you have a bank of lockers in 3 lanes. In the name of fast operations, Lagoon does not allow any bags or loose articles to be stored on the ride platform. So they offer complimentary lockers while you ride. Then you have 3 lanes to pick from at the end of the queue. The rightmost lane is the standard standby line for anyone taller than 50 inches. At the end of this line, you can choose whether you'd like to ride in the front or back row. The 2 lanes on the left are special. One is a single rider line. I wish you could access this without waiting through the rest of the line. It would make it much more appealing for me. Because once you reach the split point, you only have another 5 or so minutes, and most groups would rather stick together at that point, and some singles such as myself would rather pick their row. The final lane is for guests between 46 and 50 inches in height. These guests are permitted to ride Wicked, but they need to sit in a special booster seat. Adding and removing these seats does slow down dispatches a bit, but it is a really neat feature that allows kids to ride this coaster a year earlier than they otherwise would. The only other coaster I've seen with this feature is Impulse at Knoebels, which is the only other Zierer Tower coaster in existence. As long as there isn't a booster seat involved, Wicked's dispatches are usually very fast. Usually you'll see multiple trains on the course at once. Riders are restrained by just a lap bar, so the crew can check these in a flash. This is a good thing because the trains are super short, having just 2 rows of 4. I think the forces are similar in the front and back rows, but I have a slight preference for the front. You get that unobstructed view, and I think the ride is a little smoother up there. As a whole, this ride does track very smoothly. There are a few spots with a light rattle though, and this can cause some discomfort due to the restraints. Wicked has these long and flat lap bars that fold down onto your thighs. This component doesn't bother me. In fact, I like how free it leaves your upper body. I do hold on to the restraint once checked, otherwise it can tighten on the valleys. This is so uncomfortable for some that the lap bars can actually release a notch when you're parked on the final brake run. Skyrush at Hershey Park is the only other coaster I've seen something like that happen. The part of the restraint I personally do not like are the shin guards. These bars seem to rest much closer to your shins than on other coasters like those from RMCs. This means any slight jostle can cause your shin to bash into it, which is not a pleasant sensation. Once dispatched, you head into a dark room and around a corner. You'll hear a booming siren echoing. This part and the station are supposed to give an industrial vibe, but outside that, Wicked isn't really themed. You then enter a corrugated metal tube, which holds the first of 2 LSM launches. The first one starts off flat. You are suddenly yanked forwards. It's not the most powerful launch out there, but it does have a little kick to it. You then get a quick blast of positives while you curve upwards onto the vertical incline. At this moment, 2 things happen. 1, you head right back outside. 2, the vertical LSMs engage and propel you up the top hat. This transition is seamless, and you'll feel some strong positive G's here. You can really feel the LSMs fighting against gravity as they push your train towards the sky. Now back to my original question. Is Intamin's new ride the first with a vertical launch? In my eyes, no. I think Wicked's vertical ascent is most definitely a launch, and one of the best ones to be honest for its uniqueness and forces. Intamin's argument is that Wicked's launch maintains your speed rather than increasing it. While this may be true, you have to remember that you need to overcome gravity, so you're still going to feel a lot of acceleration even if your net speed is constant. But I'll say this, if Intamin's ride increases your speed while going vertical, that is going to be one heck of a powerful launch. But back to Wicked, the 110 foot or 34 meter tall top hat offers 2 distinct sections of airtime. When you crest the top, you get a great pop of ejector airtime. It's a delightful contrast from those G's plastering you to your seat back on the ascent. After you momentarily return to your seat, the vertical descent throws you out of it once again. This is some nice ejector airtime. It's a little bit sustained this time. It feels sort of similar to the airtime on the beyond vertical drops on Gerstlauer Eurofighters. I believe you hit your max speed of 55 miles per hour or 89 kilometers per hour at the bottom of the drop, but you do not hold it for very long. You immediately head over a speed hill lined with trim brakes, and you'll definitely feel those trims slow the train down a bit. Despite the deceleration, you still get a decent pop of floater airtime. Had those trims not been there, you probably would get airtime like an RMC speed hill. You then head through an overbank. It's big and smooth, but it doesn't really do too much. Next is Wicked's one and only inversion, a 0G roll, but it's an exceptional one. The train really slows down at the top, resulting in a few seconds of very sustained hang time while you rotate 360 degrees. This is especially true because you have nothing holding on to your upper body. It is one of the best 0G rolls in the world for hang time. Wicked then twists above the station. This is where you'll hit the mid-course brake run. The train will be slowed way down here. You then commence the second half of Wicked, which gets a lot of hate. While the first half has good speed and some really nice elements, the second half is slow and honestly kind of awkward. The drop off the brake run has some pep at least. It's a straight one and you get a little bit of floater airtime. Next are 2 very steep overbanks and you crawl over the apices, so you get some weird lateral hang time. It feels like the train will valley here. You then have a gentle S-bend section that reminds me of the one on Kennywood's Skyrocket, and that's a comparison that no ride wants to strive for. You then have a meek and forgettable turn. Then, for your final element, you have a dip downwards into a tunnel. This would be cooler if it was steeper, but is super shallow and tame. You then rise into the brake run, getting no airtime, and then you come to a stop. You then roll back into the station, ending the 2,051 foot or 625 meter long coaster. So what would I rate Wicked? I would give this coaster a 7 out of 10. The musical Wicked is a tale of 2 witches, one good and one bad. The ride Wicked is a tale of 2 halves, one good and one bad. I love this ride's first half. The vertical launch is a standout moment of any coaster. It really is incredible accelerating in that orientation. Then you also have a fantastic top hat and a wonderful 0G roll. I just wish the second half could maintain that pace and quality. Instead, it crawls and it's pretty dull. It's a shame Wicked ends on a whimper. If it could maintain the quality of the first half, this ride would probably be closer to a 9 out of 10. It's a bummer more tower coasters have not been added because both Wicked and Impulse have some really nice moments. Hopefully a few more parks give Zierer a chance on the model. So those are my thoughts on Wicked at Lagoon. What are your thoughts on the first vertical launch coaster? Do you like the ride? Or do you have an issue with the layout and or restraints? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.